Good day everyone, this is Shane and we're going to report the chapter 32 of Intermediate Accounting 3. Our topic is all about basic earnings per share, average shares. Before we proceed to the problems and solution, let's have a recap first. There are two presentations of earnings per share. The first one is the basic earnings per share, and the second one is the diluted earnings per share. There are also two presentations of earnings per share. It is required for entities whose ordinary shares are publicly traded. Also for entities that are in the process of issuing ordinary shares or potential ordinary shares in the public securities market. There are three uses of earnings per share. First, it is a determinant of the market price of the ordinary shares. It is a measure of performance of management in conducting operations. Third, it is the basis of dividend policy of an entity. Now let's proceed to the formula of basic earnings per share. The formula of basic earnings per share is net income over ordinary shares outstanding. Let us all remember that the net income mentioned earlier is the net income after tax, while the theoretical value of right or the formula of the theoretical value of right is market value of share right on minus subscription price over number of rights to purchase one share plus one.
Problem 32.1. Jet Company provided the following information for the current year. So, ang tinatanong po dito is, what is the average number of shares? So, for our solution po, mayroon lang po tayong dalawa dito. On January 1, 400,000 and July 1, 50,000. We can see that hindi po nag-reflect dito yung transaction ng April 1, which is 2-for-1 share split na 200,000. Why? Kasi po, as a rule, the share split is recognized retroactively, meaning to say it is treated as a change from the date the original shares are issued. I-apply po natin yung 2-for-1 share split on the date where the shares are originally issued. Kailan po ba yon? Yun po ay naganap noon January 1. So, on January 1 na meron tayong shares outstanding na 200,000, i-multiply po natin doon yung 2, galing po sa 2-for-1 share split, and then multiply natin sa 12 over 12, the number of months from January to December, and we will arrive at the amount of 400,000. And then yung July 1 po is 100,000 multiplied by 6 over 12. In average po natin siya is equal to 50,000. Addition lang po, 400 plus 50 is equal to 450,000. Clear ba po ang aking explanation, Miss Rose Ann Hestorillo?
In problem number 2, we need to find out the weighted average number of shares outstanding. So, Timp Company had the following transaction during the year. On January 1, there are 300 ordinary shares outstanding. On February 1, issued a 10% share dividend of 30,000. On March 1, issued ordinary shares in a business combination 90,000. On July 1, issued ordinary shares for cash 80,000. And on December 1, ordinary shares outstanding is total to 500,000. I-adjust natin yung number of shares outstanding. As a rule, 10% share dividend issued on February is treated as a change from the date the original shares are issued. Thus, January 1 balance is adjusted for the 10% share dividend. 300,000 times 1.10 times 12 over 12 is equal to 330,000. From March 1 to December 31 is 10 months. So 90,000 times 10 over 12 is equals to 75,000. From July 1 to December 31 is 6 months. 80,000 times 6 over 12 is equal to 40,000. The total average number of shares is equal to 445,000.
For problem 32-3, Sharon Company provided the following information in relation to share capital for the current year. Ang tinatanong dito, Yvette, Kristen Joy, ay what is the number of weighted average shares? A. 2,700,000, B. 2,775,000, C. 2,750,000, and D. 1,350,000. The correct answer for problem 32-3 is letter C, 2,750,000 weighted average shares. In order to get the average shares, you need to compute for the January, April, and October shares. In January, it is said that the share outstanding is 1,250,000 times 12 over 12 fraction or 1 year. So 1,250,000 times 200% is equals to 2,500,000. The April share is equals to 200,000 times 200% times 9 over 12, which is the fraction for April, which is 300,000. And for the October shares, treasurer shares purchase of 100,000 times 200% times 3 over 12 is equals to negative 50,000. So 2,500,000 plus 300,000 minus 50,000 for October of treasurer shares purchased is equals to 2,750,000.
Now let's proceed to the next problem, problem number 4. At the beginning of current year, Nissan Company had 100,000 ordinary shares outstanding. During the current year, the following events occurred. On March 1, nagkaroon ng 2-for-1 share split. Noong June 1, nag-issue ng 30,000 additional shares. At noong September 1, may 20% na share dividend. So in this problem, we are going to look for the weighted average number of shares outstanding. Now let's discuss how this problem is solved. Noong January 1, meron tayong outstanding ordinary shares na 100,000 times 2 kasi may 2-for-1 share split times 1.20 kasi yun ay 120% nakuha dahil may additional tayong 20% share dividend times 12 over 12 kasi yun yung kanyang range ng effectivity which is equal to 240,000. Sinama natin sa computation yung share split na naitala noong March 1 sa January 1 kasi yung share split ay treated retrospectively. Meaning, i-assume natin na nangyari din siya doon sa previous months. Noong June 1 naman, meron tayong 30,000 na additional shares times 120% times 7 over 12 na equal to 21,000. So, ang average number of shares natin ay 261,000.
So, dito po sa problem number 5 is similar lang po sa problem number 4. So, ang hinahanap po natin dito is weighted average number of shares that should be used in calculating earnings per share. So kukunin po natin yung adjusted balance ng January 1, April 1, and no June 30. So, noong January 1, mayroon po tayong 720 na adjusted balance. So, paano po nakuha yung 720? So, yung 100,000 na ordinary shares, ito times natin sa 2. Kasi, nung May 1, meron tayong split the share 2 for 1. Kaya, i-multiply natin siya. Times 1.20. Kasi, yung 20% na share dividend times 100 is equal to 1.20. Times 3. Kasi, nung December 31, meron tayong split the share 3 for 1. Then, times number of months to December. Kaya, 12 over 12. So, meron tayong nakuwang 720. Then, nung April 1, ganon din po, same lang po siya sa January 1, kung paano natin nakuha yon. 30,000 times 2 times 1.20 times 3 times 9 over 12 is equal to 162,000. So, noong June 30 naman po, meron tayong purchase 10,000 shares times 1.20. Bakit hindi na po natin siya times sa 2? Kasi noong May 1 pa siya na meron tayong split share 2 for 1. Kaya hindi na siya kasama. Times 3. Then times 6 over 12. Bakit po 6 over 12? Kasi nung June 30, kasi nung June 30 na po tayo nag-purchase. So, bali ang bilang niya, July na to December. So, meron po tayong 18,000. Since yung June 30 is purchase siya, so, i-deduct natin po siya. So, 720 plus 162 minus 18,000, makukuha po natin yung weighted average number of shares na 864,000. Hello kay Lucky Rona. Okay ka pa ba dyan?
Problem 32.6. Let me read you the problem. Helen Company provided the following share transactions for the current year. January 1, shares outstanding 44,000. February 1, issued for cash 56,000. May 1, acquired treasury shares 25,000. August 1, 25% share dividend. September 1, resold treasury shares 10,000. November 1, issued for 1 share splits. What is the weighted number of average shares for EPS computation? A. 305,000, B. 307,500, C. 103,750, and letter D. 311,250. Let me read you the solution. January 1, 44,000 times 1.25 times 3 times 12 over 12. Bakit ito naging 12 over 12? Matatandaan natin na ang transaksyong ito ay nangyari ng January 1, ibig sabihin ito ay magiging epektibo sa looban ng isang taon. Ang total nito ay 165,000. February 1, 56,000 times 1.25 times 3 times 11 over 12. Ito ay may total na 192,500. May 1, 25,000 times 1.25 times 3 times 8 over 12. Ito naman ay negative 62,500. September 1, 10,000 times 3 times 4 over 12. Ito ay nagkakahalaga ng 10,000. Ang lahat ay may kabuuang bilang o may kabuuang halaga ng 305,000. The January 1 balance is adjusted for the 25% share dividend entry for split 1 or for 1 split. The February 1 issue is adjusted for the 25% share dividend entry for 1 split. The May 1 treasury shares are adjusted for the 25% share dividend and for 3 for 1 split. The September 1 resale of treasury is adjusted for the 3 for 1 split.
Problem 32.7. Wincansin Company had 250,000 ordinary shares outstanding on January 1, 2021. So, ito po yung ating data. And, ang hinihingi po dito is, what is the weighted average number of shares for 2021 to be used in earnings per share computation for comparative financial statements of 2022 and the weighted number of shares for 2022 to be used in the earnings per share computation for comparative financial statement of 2022. So for our solution po, on January 1, 2021, meron po tayong 250,000 galing po sa ating ordinary shares outstanding multiply by 1.2. Saan po galing yung 1.2? Galing po ito sa 100% plus 20% na share dividend na na-issue po noong July 1. Multiply po natin siya sa 3. Bakit po sa 3? Kasi kung makikita po natin sa previous problem po, dun po sa unang slide na nagkaroon po ng 3 for 1 share split noong June 1, 2022. Bakit po kasama yun? Next year pa yun. Ang rule po kasi ng ating share dividend and share split, they are recognized retroactively po na kung kailan po na-issue yung ating original shares ay dun mo po siya i-a-apply. So, na-issue po yung ating share dividend. Kahit po na-issue yung share dividend natin noong July 1, i-include po natin siya ay dun sa mga naging previous transaction bago dumating dun sa date na yon. So, kasama po sa ating January 1 kasi sila outstanding na po siya at the beginning of the year. Yun po yung assumption doon. So, 250k multiply by 1.2 na share dividend times 3 na 3 for 1 share split times 12 divided by 12. Magkakaroon po tayo ng amount na 900,000. On March 1 naman po, 24,000 po ay given. Multiply by 1.2. Bakit po andito ulit yung 1.2? Kasi nga po, ito ay kasali sa mga previous transactions na naganap bago po tayo dumating sa July 1 wherein the company issued a 20% share dividend. And minultiply po ulit natin siya sa 3. Bakit andito na naman yung 3 for 1 share split? Kasi nga po, share dividend and share split are treated or recognized retroactively. Na kung saan po, sila, bago dumating dun sa time na yun, na kung saan naganap yung transaction, ay kailangan mo siyang i-include dun sa mga previous na transactions na naganap. So, multiply po natin siya sa 10 over 12 kasi March. From March to December, we have 10 months. And we will arrive at the amount of 72,000. No, October 1 naman po, 16,000 given na po. Multiply by 3. Andito po ulit yung 3. Galing po sa 3 for 1 share split noong June 1, 2022. Multiply po natin sa 3 over 12, the number of months from October to December, and we will arrive at the amount of 12,000. Noong December 1 naman po, meron po tayong 15,000 given again. Multiply by 3 again kasi po siya ay previous transaction ng share split po na naganap noong June 1, 2022. Multiply by 1 over 12, we will arrive at the amount of 3,750. Since ito po ay treasury shares, ay ima-minus po natin ito sa ating outstanding shares. So, ito po ang sagot, 980,250. Ito po yung ating average number of shares for 2021 na gagamitin for comparative financial statements of 2020 computation. Then, andito po sa kasunod natin is kinumpute naman po yung outstanding shares noong December 31, 2021. Noong January 1, 2021 po, originally, meron po tayong 250,000 ordinary shares outstanding. Noong March 1 naman po, meron po tayong 24,000. And noong July 1 ay meron po tayong 54,800. Saan po galing ito? Ito po ay transactions about issued wherein the company issued a 20% share dividend. So, yung 20% po ng 274,000. Saan po galing yung 274? Yung 274,000 po ay galing sa pamamagitan ng pag-add ng shares po noong January 1 and March 1 wherein 250,000 plus 24,000 is equal to 274,000. And pagdating po ng July, wherein the company issued a 20% share dividend, minultiply po natin siya. That amounts to 54,800. And no October 1 naman po, nagbenta po ang company ng 16,000 shares. So, kasama po yun. And ito pong purchase 15,000 shares to be held in treasury ay ima-minus po natin. Yun po yung total outstanding shares noong December 31, 2021 that amounted to 329,800. Yun po yung ating outstanding shares. Then, to answer number 2 po, ano naman po yung weighted number of shares noong 2022? Gamit lang po yung outstanding shares on December 31, 2021 as beginning shares po natin, beginning outstanding shares for January 1, 2022. 329,800, multiply po natin by 3. Galing po ito sa 3 for 1 share split, multiply by 12 over 12, the number of months from January to December. We will arrive at the amount of 989,400. And noong September naman po ay nagbenta po ang company ng 60,000 share. So, 60,000 po, multiply po lang natin sa 4 over 12, the number of months from September to December is 20,000 shares. So, i-add lang po natin. The answer is 1,009,400. Clear po ba tayo, Angelica? Ventura?
The question in problem 8 is what amount should be reported as basic earnings per share. The formula for basic earnings per share is net income less preference dividends over average number of ordinary shares. So, Precise Company had a net income of 15 million for the current year. The following appropriation have not been considered in this amount. Arrears of cumulative preference dividend for 2 years of 4 million, ordinary dividends of 5 million, preference share premium payable on redemption 1 million, exceptional profit net of tax 4 million. The entity had 3 million ordinary shares of 1 pesos par value outstanding at the beginning of the year. The following share transaction occurred during the current year. On January 1, issued at 5 pesos per share, 1 pesos paid to date and entitled to participate in dividends to the extent paid up 250,000. On April 1, full market price 3 pesos per share issue 600,000. On July 1, for case of own shares 400,000. Solution. So for the current year, the entity had a net income of 15 million. I-adjust natin siya by adding exceptional profit of 4 million. The adjusted net income is 19 million. Ilalas natin ang preference dividends. Ang preference dividend for the current year is 2 million. Bakit 2 million lang? Kasi for computation of basic earnings per share, laging for the current year lang yung kinukuha natin. Last also is yung preference share premium payable upon redemption of 1 million. The preference share premium payable on redemption can be considered as dividend on participating preference share. So the net income to ordinary shares is 16 million. Next step is compute natin yung average number of shares. The entity had 3 million ordinary shares outstanding at the beginning of the year. So 3 million times 12 over 12 is equals to 3 million. Then on the same date, on January 1, 250,000 shares were issued, 5 pesos per share, but 1 pesos paid to date. So 250,000 times 1 over 5 is times 12 over 12 is equals to 50,000. Then on April 1, 600,000 shares were issued. 600,000 times 9 over 12 is equal to 450,000. Then on July 1, purchase of own shares 400,000. So yung 400,000 times 6 over 12 is equal to 200,000. Ililas natin siya kasi once a company has bought back its own share, they are either cancelled or held as treasury share, thereby reducing the number of shares outstanding. So the average shares is 3.3 million. 16 million divided by 3.3 million is equal to 4.85 basic earnings per share.
Hello, Miss Angelica Paglinawan.
Problem 32-9 Stretch Company had one class of ordinary share capital outstanding and no other securities that are potentially convertible into ordinary shares. During 2021, 100,000 shares were outstanding. The question number 1, what amount should be reported as basic earnings per share for 2022 in the comparative income statement for 2022? And question number 2, what amount should be reported as basic earnings per share for 2021 in the comparative income statement for 2022. The solution for question number 1 of 32-9, the 2022 basic earnings per share is equals to net income divided by the average numbers of shares. The net income is 485,000 divided by 230,000 is equals to 1950. 230,000 is the average numbers of shares came from January 1, 2022. Shares of 200,000 times 12 over 12 for the fraction of January, which is equals to 200,000. The April shares is equals to 20,000 times 9 over 12 fraction of is equals to 30,000. So 200,000 plus 30,000 is equals to the average number of shares, which is 230,000. Problem 2. The answer is letter B, which is the 17.50. The 2021 basic earnings per share is equals to net income of 3,500,000 divided by 200,000 total ordinary shares from December 31, 2021. The 200,000 came from December 31, 2021 balance of 100,000 and July 1, 2022 2-for-1 share split of 100,000 totaling of 200,000. So 3,500,000 divided by 200,000 is equals to 17.50. Note that the share split should be applied retrospectively and to the earliest period presented.
Let's proceed to problem number 10. On January 1, 2021, Shane Company had 100,000 ordinary shares outstanding. the following transactions occurred during 2021. On March 1, the entity reacquired 3,000 shares accounted for as treasury. September 1, sold all treasury shares. December 1, sold 66,000 new shares for cash. On December 31, reported a net income of 2,600,000 pesos. The following transactions occurred during 2022. January 15, declared and issued a 25% share dividend, and on December 31, reported a net income of 4 million pesos. The questions for this problem are: what amount should be reported as basic earnings per share for 2021 for presentation in comparative financial statements on December 31, 2022, and what amount should be reported as basic earnings per share for 2022 for presentation in comparative financial statements on December 31, 2022. Let's first solve for the answer of question 1. Let's find the basic earnings per share for the year 2021. So on January 1, 2021, we have a 100,000 ordinary shares times 125% from adding the 25% share dividend times 12 over 12, which is the range of its effectivity, amounting to 125,000. On March 1, the entity reacquired 3,000 times 125 times 10 over 12. We have a deduction of 3,125 treasury shares. And on September 1, we have 3,000 times 1.25 times 4 over 12, amounting to 1,250. December 1, we have 66,000 times 125% times 1 over 12, amounting to 6,875. Thus, the average shares outstanding is amounting to 130,000 pesos. Using the formula for the computation of basic earnings per share, net income over average shares outstanding, we have 2.6 million over 130,000, amounting to 20 pesos. Next, let's compute for the basic earnings per share for 2022 for presentation in comparative financial statements on December 31, 2022. So, noong January 1, 2021, meron tayong outstanding ordinary shares na 100,000. Noong March 1, meron tayong deduction na treasury shares na 3,000. Noong September 1, meron tayong resale of treasury shares. So yun ay ina-add na, meron tayong 3,000. Noong December 1, meron tayong new issue ng cash. Meron tayong 66,000. So, ang outstanding shares natin noong December 31, 2021 ay 166,000. So, para sa year 2022, meron tayong average shares outstanding for 2022 na 166,000 times 125%, amounting to 207,500. So, using the formula for basic earnings per share, para sa year 2022, meron tayong 4 million over 207,500, amounting to 19.28. Note that the 25% share dividend declared and issued on January 15, 2022 should be treated retroactively.
Hi Alexis, I hope you're doing great. This is the chapter summary of chapter 32. When computing for the weighted average number of outstanding ordinary shares issued for cash are averaged from the date cash becomes receivable. Treasury shares are averaged as a negative value from the acquisition date or as a positive value from the reissuance date. Share dividends and share splits are averaged retrospectively from the original issuance date of the related shares on which the share dividends or share splits are based. When stocks rights are issued, the weighted average shares before the issue is multiplied by the following adjustment factor: FB of stocks right on over FB on stocks X right. FB of stocks X right equals FB of stocks right on less value of one right. The PAS 33 paragraph 16 provides that preference shares may be repurchased under an entity's tender offer to the holders. The excess of the consideration paid to the preference shareholders over the carrying amount of the preference shares represents a return to the preference shareholders and a charge to retained earnings. Where share dividends or share splits create a changes in the capital structure, The increase or decrease in the number of shares shall be recognized retroactively. In bonus issue, ordinary shares are issued to existing shareholders for no considerations.